You're listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Welcome to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland. What an awesome day. What an awesome, exciting opportunity to be alive and to be here with the Ring of Honor man himself. I mean, I am excited to be the co-host of this podcast, to be bringing it to you with our ability to talk about this incredible honor, to talk about you and the Hall of Fame, this podcast, everything that we're doing, obviously in studio with our co-host, Mike Foster. We call him Mikey Football. and of course, so let's get right down to it. The Ring of Honor.
Yes.
Mike, give us quickly, the listener, tell us, what is the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, the Ring of Honor is Clemson's highest honor for a student athlete. And you have to have a 4-year degree, be a part of the Athletic Hall of Fame, and then made a contribution to Clemson athletics. And that gets you your jersey number retired. And your name on the stadium. And it's a heck of an honor. It started in 1994 with Frank Howard, Steve Fuller.
He is the ninth individual
football player and coach.
So this is the highest honor you can get. This is it. This is the pinnacle. And it's not just playing good and being at your game, but this is somebody that's special. This is recognized, Levon, as the highest they can do. This is the pinnacle at Clemson. They can't give you any more respect than what you just got. Tell us, how did it happen? How did you find out about it, and how did you feel about that?
Well, it happened on a Tuesday, and Tim Beret called me, and I was kind of curious why Tim would call me. I mean, he asked for my number a couple weeks ago, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe he just needed it for his records or whatever. And so when he called, I was like, "Hey, what's up, Timmy? How you doing? What's going on?" And he was just like, "Hey, I wanted to tell you that you have been inducted to the Ring of Honor." And I was a loss at words.
So he just came right out with it.
He just came right out at it, and I was like, "Are you serious?" I mean, I was kind of lost at words. And he's like, "Yep, I'm serious, man. Congratulations. Well deserved, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Are you for real?" I really couldn't believe it. I mean, it was such an honor, to get that. You see it as a player, you see the names, and you're hopeful. You don't know. And I think more so than anything, I was just surprised it was on a Tuesday that he called. It was such a normal day. And he hung up the phone. And the funny thing was, I called him back. And I was like, "Tim, are you for real?" I was like, "This is not a old April Fool's joke or anything like that." And he's like, "No, I'm telling you, it's for real." And so I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know what to do with my emotions. I was very emotional. I'm really not an emotional person, but I was very emotional. I really was. I mean, that hit me very hard. I couldn't really believe it, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. And I'm in the office, and I'm like, what do I do with myself? I don't know what to do. And so I kind of calmed down a little bit, and the first person I called was my brother, who's been like my...
What's his name?
Laverne, Ashley. So goes forward, I do have a brother named Laverne. So I called him first, and then I called my older sister. My brother was really excited about it. He really was. He was just like, "Oh man, I can't believe it," because being the older brother of probably a athlete that's gone on and playing the pros and stuff like that, it's probably a little different. But he's always been supportive of me and always been kind of my advisor. Then I called my sister.
Which one?
My sister Barbara.
Okay.
And she was like, and I was trying to keep it down because I didn't want to shout it out. And she's like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." And I'm like, she didn't really get it. So I called my sister Angela. She was ecstatic, praise the Lord, things like that. Then, praise my sister Sandra wouldn't answer the phone. Then I called my brother Albert, who's always cool. He was like, "Hey man, that's great. Good job." And then I called my sister Chrissy, who was basically cool too, and she was just like, "Oh, that's a great job." And then I finally got my sister Sandra, and she's like, "Oh, look at God. So it was kind of cool. And then I called some other friends, and And then I told you guys.
And then you slid in here.
I slid in
wasn't
here.
sure what was going on.
Well, see, I really couldn't believe it at first. And so I didn't really want to.
You can't even be like looking around, closing the door.
Yeah, I was like, guess what? I got in the Ring of Honor at Clemson. But I was like, is it really true?
Yeah.
Still sinking in.
I still like not quite believing it. Then Annabelle Vaughn called me from NC State, and she worked for Tim and Mr. Bradley when he was here, and she's like, "Congratulations!" So I'm thinking, okay, it must be
real.
It must be kind of real. But
telling other people.
I also called another friend. I said, "You gotta call Tim at this number and ask him, is it real?" And I think he got a little aggravated at me. And so he was like, yes, it's real. And once that confirmation came in, I believed it at that time. And I just like, wow, my family name is going to be in Death Valley. How cool is that?
Oh, man. That is so cool.
That's
Great
amazing.
story.
Thank you.
It's absolutely amazing, and to get the call from Tim, who's a legend in and of
Himself,
himself,
yeah.
of what he did as an SID at Clemson, is a pretty high honor. And I guess you got to trust anything Tim Bray says,
I
right?
really do. Even though I was like, I trust him, but I want to get some more. I'm gonna make sure I get some more information, some more proof that is real. Yeah. But I mean, you can't get any more proof than Tim Bray.
Yeah,
and I was,
right.
Honestly, I was honored that Tim called me because, like you said,
he makes
before,
the decisions, right? He's one of the guys who makes the decisions for the Ring of Honor.
He's one of them.
You got 11 guys on that committee. I think you have to have at least 7.
Yeah,
7 votes.
That's big.
So that's amazing.
Only happens every 2 years.
Every 2 years, and not always anybody. I mean, sometimes I guess no one really gets voted. So I mean, it was amazing.
So we're looking forward to the jersey retirement ceremony. Do you have a date on that yet?
I think it's going to be October the 26th. And I think that's homecoming, which is amazing.
Yes.
And then it's football season, man, and I can't believe it. I mean, I'm still thrilled about it, and I think I'm gonna be thrilled until October the 26th. I mean, so I'm riding high with it and just embrace it. Normally, when I get awards, I'm more down key with it, and I'm more so like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool, that's very nice. But I think being in the age that I'm at right now currently, and you reflect over different things, and you're just like, wow, that's really cool. So,
well, speaking of that reflection, I mean, you've been an All-American,
right,
2 times.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a 3-time All-ACC defensive player.
Right.
You've been an All-Pro at the NFL level. You've been named a 90s All-Decade team for the NFL.
Right.
With the Pittsburgh Steelers. You've been a South Carolina Athletic Hall of Famer. You are a South Carolina Football Hall of Famer.
Right.
Now you're in the Ring of Honor. How does this honor stack up to everything else? And this, you mentioned a little bit about what your reaction is, but looking back at your career, you're one of the most humble guys that have accomplished the things that you've accomplished. Right. One of the most humble guys that I know, and I appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
But looking back, you talked about reflections. How do you reflect on all these things that are kind of coming to fruition here with the Ring of Honor?
Wow. That's a great question. I was always proud of every award that I've ever won. It wasn't that. But you have to understand, when I got to Clemson, I wasn't highly recruited, which is okay. I mean, that's fine. They gave me the opportunity.
Coach Jeffries was recruiting you.
Coach Jeffries didn't recruit me. I don't know if he was there, but they must have missed it, because I'm like, where was the offer? The offer didn't come in until I committed to Clemson. So they were a little late. But
anyway, wasn't highly recruited. Go ahead.
Right. Just coming to Clemson, it was such a big deal, because I remember watching the national championship. Jeff Davis, Holman Jordan, those guys winning it. Being with Danny Ford, and I was the kind of guy, I was kind of a football geek at the time, that I knew everybody on the team because I read the big old thick program that they used to send you as a recruit. And I don't think anybody knew who I was, except for Miles Aldridge, who recruited me, and Tommy West. I'm not quite sure Coach Ford knew who I was. So, I mean, to go in as a freshman, not knowing, and then getting confirmation from different guys about, hey, if you keep working as hard as you do, you're going to be one of the best players that ever played here. And, it's really a defining moment when something like this happens to you. It's just really difficult to explain the emotions, but it's for me, and I think about my family, it's big time. I think about my father. After I finished playing, he was just like, I never thought one of my sons would go to Clemson. And I said, what makes you say that? He said, well, son, you got to understand, in our day, we wouldn't allow to walk through the front door. And he said, but he always said he admired Clemson and what it stood for. And for a son of his to be there and to play and to have the freedom to go there, earn a scholarship, and do as well as I had done, he was real proud. I always wanted to just make my family proud.
Well,
and
rightfully so.
And so this, from that humble background, it makes me think about the journey to Clemson, being an All-American, All-ACC, NFL, and to come back and to be inducted in something like this is, I don't really have the right words to say how I feel about it, but I hope my parents are looking when the name is going to be revealed and they see the Kirkland name and what they did and how they raised us Kirklands to be great citizens. And I just hope they're proud. Even though they're not here anymore, hopefully they're proud.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
This is a Levon Kirkland type of day. As of this taping today, we're 44 days from Clemson football.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
Hey,
only you would know that, Mike.
Mikey football.
Like me and David would have never placed that together, but you did.
And of course, 44 refers to, number 44, Levon Kirkland.
Yeah.
So,
And that number, it was kind of an accident how I got into high school. I was playing tight end. I had 86.
Okay.
And then I went to running back, and they switched me to 44. And I liked the number so much that I just kind of stuck with it when I went back to playing tight end. And then when I got to Clemson, I can't think of the running back that was there who had 44. He was gone, so I was able to get the number. And I'm going to tell you how much I like 44. We had guys, now, an offensive player and a defensive player wears 44. But we had a bunch of guys. And, David, you remember being back at Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
We had like 150 guys on the sideline.
Yeah, it was Army out there.
It was. So when I saw a guy who had 44 on, I'd get kind of upset.
Yeah,
I really would. I would get upset. They didn't have their name on the back of the jersey. And I'm just like, oh, God, I hate that guy wearing my jersey. But so now, he gets to be retired, so it's kind of funny. But I wonder if they'll do the patch thing. They don't have to. I just kind of think it would be kind of cool.
I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
And he just mentioned something about being a multi-sport athlete.
Right.
And one thing that I want you to say on the film, because you and I were talking about this.
Yes.
And we were talking about you used to high jump in high school.
I used to high jump in high school, yeah.
How high did you actually high jump in high school?
My highest was 6'4".
6'4".
Mm-hmm.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'2", but I was like 200 pounds back then, though. So, for a high jumper, I was actually a pretty big high jumper.
6'2", 200 pounds.
And I missed 6'6" by like this much. Yeah, a little bit too much back. That much. So, yeah, I did track in high school. I also played basketball in high school.
Unbelievable. Coach Utsi, I don't know if you remember Bill Utsi. He coached in the high school.
Right.
Football.
Oh, yeah,
He commented on my, I put this up on Facebook.
Yeah,
he commented about what a great athlete you are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. But.
Yeah, in the North-South game, he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but from a small high school, you kind of had to do everything.
You played everything.
You had to play everything, so, yeah,
anyway.
Thank you.
Well, Levon, we're honored to have you part of the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. And obviously happy to have you as part of our team here. Doing the day-to-day and helping us grow and we couldn't do it without you. We appreciate the time and effort you've been able to put in to us since January. What inspired you to come back to the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame as a contributor, as a supporter, and as a guy who wanted to help with the programming here?
It's something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to give back. I just wanted to have a purpose. I did everything as far as football is concerned, and I wanted to give back in a big way. And I thought this would be a good opportunity. So when you guys gave me the call, I was like, wow, this kind of fits in everything I ever wanted to do as far as giving back to other student athletes, other people, just be encouraging. I'm not the guy to say, hey, this is how I did it, so you need to do it this way. I just thought that, everybody needs to be encouraged. Everybody needs to be empowered. Everybody needs to be educated. So I felt like that's my calling, to get the 3 E's, the 3 E's system that we came up with. So, yeah, I've always wanted to give back in that way. And I've always, I've coached. I always wanted to continue in a way coaching, but coaching my own way, not so much maybe for a team or anything, but, and I did that, but I always wanted to coach and to teach and to be an encourager. And this opportunity here at the Hall of Fame allows me to do that. It allows me to be creative. You guys are so good at just letting me learn on the go and, being, so approachable. I can ask you guys anything. You guys will sit down and talk to me. So it was a good fit. It really was a good fit. It was good timing. And I'm glad I made that choice.
Well, we're very excited to have you, Levon.
Thank you.
Of course, the mission of the Hall of Fame is a lofty mission. We are making a difference through football, simply, but, investing in our youth, investing in our communities, and of course, you being with us to help us do that has been fantastic. It's been like a big shot in the arm for the Football Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you.
We're honored to be here. And of course, that brings us to this podcast,
Right.
Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland. It's great to be able to interview you and to get your impression on all of these things. In this podcast that the listeners are listening to, we have recorded some shows that we're getting ready to start releasing. And obviously we have typically an intro,
Right.
We have an interview, and then we have a final segment on the typical show. This show is not typical, but that inside look with Levon Kirkland. Tell us about the podcast, what you're trying to accomplish, and the inside look, and then we'll wrap it up from there.
Well, I think with the podcast and the and what we're doing, the Inside Blitz, I think we're not really talking about our opinions and, I'm right here and this player's not good and they should do this. And I didn't want it to be a typical show. I wanted to be a show that interviewed some real people, got their opinions, basically say why football made a difference in their lives and really be more informative. Because what we're trying to do is, like we said before, we want to educate, we want to empower people. We do. And I think that we do a good job of doing that on this show. And I think people need encouragement. I think they need coaches in their lives that are going to pour in their lives and make them go deeper. And I hope that this show helps people go a little deeper. And we're talking to some accomplished people.
No question.
Some people that have done some amazing things. And I think if you're a young person, a fan of football, that this show is going to be that show that you're going to listen to and get some information and not be this guy can't play and all that stuff. Really, those shows have their places, and it's all great, but I just want to be a little different. Yeah. I imagine everybody does, but this podcast, I hope that what it does is it really encourage young people and encourage their parents, encourage people that coach, encourage everybody. And they know that we have a great cause and we're trying to build futures.
There's no question. And of course,
Right.
I love the fact that you came up with sort of codifying the 3E system,
Yes.
educate, empower, encourage, and
Right.
you've done a good job with that. And of course, we're all about leadership on
Yes.
the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. We're about leading ourselves, obviously always trying to get better. We're, I think, a work in progress, and you just do your best you can every day.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you created the Inside Look with Levon Kirkland. Tell us a little bit about what that's about.
Well, honestly, I think maybe me and Mikey might have came up with it. I'm not going to give the credit just to me. And we were just rounding off a couple names, and then we were just like, I think Mike's like, well, like the Inside Blitz, because you used to blitz. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, we used to do the little fire zone. I said, man, I don't know if anybody even has that name. And sure enough, that was the name. We were like, it works. I used to play in the Blitz, the Blitzburg fire zones back in the day, and we were innovative, and we used to blitz from everywhere, especially from the inside. So for us to come up with that name, I mean, it just fit. It's like,
fits.
God, it's perfect.
And it gives an inside look to, and access to people that maybe you don't normally get access to,
Right.
and information that you may not normally get access to. And you get it from perspective from a guy like Levon who's lived it and seen it. And so to have the interaction between a legend and a legend is special in regards to this podcast.
And I think
that's why I'm excited about
And
it.
I think what it does is it targets people that have been affiliated with the state of South Carolina. Like, where do you get that from? You don't get that from any other show. I mean, a lot of times they're going to interview the superstar that you already know about anyway.
Yeah.
So now we get a chance to talk to some big-time players in this state that you may not get in a national audience or maybe in a local audience, but you're getting it from here. And South Carolina has a tremendous tradition of football coaches, everybody who's involved with football. So I think it's wonderful.
And you're getting a real life perspective from those guys, not just football stuff, you know.
Well, and I tell you what, you get me started on South Carolina and how proud I am to be from South Carolina and this football state. You're getting me. That's exactly. I love that. The perspective is a South Carolina football perspective, and we have a great football tradition at South Carolina. A lot of great people like yourself from Lamar, South Carolina, the big metropolis.
Lamar.
I mean, we've got 2 of our Hall of Famers from Lamar, South Carolina.
Isn't that something?
You and John Abraham, both from Lamar.
Right. I heard
and a Tiger.
I heard a joke about Lamar that you can run your 40 and Lamar be out of town. I thought that was pretty good. I bust out a laugh. He said, man, Lamar, the guy was, he's a receiver at South Carolina. We were talking about hometown. He said, well, Lamar, man, 40, you're out of town. So I thought it was a good joke.
That's
That is
classic.
a good joke. Well, hey, that's a great note to end on. We want to thank again Evan Tripp for producing the podcast. Thank you, the listener. You're the one that makes this work. We are in the Wyatt Law Studios, and we want to thank all of our listeners, and we want you to make a difference through football. If you hadn't joined and become a sustaining member, do that. Do it now. Thank you very much. This is the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.